Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Friday, June 19th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Ball State game in 79 days, the game against Michigan in 163 days. Our friends at Jeff Ruby's Columbus, proudly offering nationally acclaimed USDA prime steaks, seafood and sushi, impeccable service, live entertainment, and attention to detail that is simply unmatched. Just go to jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. All right, I'm joined by Tody Gerdeman here at the final one-day camp of the summer. It has been a whirlwind 2 weeks here at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. It is now over, but man, the last camp of the summer, it delivered. There was some big star power here.
Yeah, some good quarterbacks, good running backs, really good defensive tackle, and Glenville was here, and you had quarterbacks Christopher Vargas from yesterday was back today.
5-star,
kind of just watching and throwing a little bit, and of course Brady Edmonds was back throwing as well. So a lot to watch throughout the day.
And one of the biggest names was the number one wide receiver, maybe the number one player overall in the class of 2028. This is a name that Ohio State fans will be familiar with. Jett Harrison, he is someone that we were talking about in this building, 3 years ago when his older brother Marvin Jr. was Marvin Harrison Jr.
Little Jett.
Little Jett. He was in seventh grade at that point, something like that. He is now grown and turned into a pretty darn good wide receiver prospect, and got a chance to watch him work out a little bit.
Yeah, he already looks like a college wide receiver. He's put together. He is quick. He's fast. All that. You watch him tracking the ball. He didn't do a bunch today.
No,
he was just doing some stuff early on. They don't need to see anything else from him.
Yeah,
he's got his offer, all of that. But clearly, there's some speculation right now that Ohio State's doing very well with him. That's been the thought all along. Seems to be picking up, and then the fact that he's here today, all signs seem to be pointing, up for Ohio State. But just watching him, it's easy to imagine him doing well in this Ohio State offense.
Well, and brothers are not always exactly the same. As the oldest of three, I can tell you that for sure. I know you have siblings as well, and you're probably not all exactly the same, but when you look at how Marvin Harrison Jr. handled his business at Ohio State, you would assume if Jett Harrison has turned himself into a pretty good prospect as well, there's probably some commonality there. Father, Marvin Sr., obviously knows a little bit of something about playing the wide receiver position, but also now you have a father who has gotten to the NFL Hall of Fame. You have a brother who has gotten himself to a Heisman Trophy finalist and a top 5 NFL draft pick. So you probably have a pretty decent sense for what it takes to get to that point. And if he's gotten to that point, that tells you he's probably got the same work ethic and drive that the other two guys have.
Yeah, I think it also says a lot about Ohio State if they can get him to commit and sign. This is not Brian Hartline. This is not Marvin Harrison say go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
This is Ohio State having to repackage itself and resell itself to another Harrison. And yeah, there's proof of concept in the overall picture of Ohio State. But he doesn't have C.J. Stroud throwing to him. There's different play callers, so it's a little bit of a different Ohio State. It's a different kind of era in college football.
Yeah.
But so it's interesting to see that despite all of that, another Harrison and Ohio State have continued to get closer and closer. And they started out close.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's been no distance grown, I think, is important.
Well, I think Marvin Jr. had a very good experience at Ohio State and developed. I mean, you go back, he was not even the highest rated Ohio State wide receiver in that class. He might not have even been a top 100 player in some services.
He was behind Jaden Ballard.
Yeah. But just from day one, worked. One of the guys he was working with, obviously, Mick Marotti, he's still here. Ryan Day's still here. So you have some common threads there. And the core principles of the program haven't changed. So I think Marvin Harrison Sr. was probably reasonably happy with how things worked out, and the fact that Jett Harrison is now here would sort of be testimony to that. Then no timetable on the decision for him. Obviously, as you said, there is some scuttlebutt that things are trending in a decent direction for Ohio State right there, but he's at 2028. He's still going into his junior year of high school, so this could be months, another year. It could be a while before you get a decision there, but right now, Ohio State feeling pretty good. So you have a family tie there. You have a high school tie, but the next guy I want to talk to, which is Aedyn Havili. He is a defensive lineman. Stop me if you've heard this. A defensive lineman from Eastside Catholic High School in Sammamish, Washington. Tony, where have I heard that particular bio before?
That would be JT Tuimoloau. Came from that same school, former defensive lineman at Ohio State, as you know. And I didn't get to watch him at all until like the last 20 minutes, which is the one-on-ones, and then I didn't move. I just stayed there the entire time. We'll have some video up of it at youtube.com/@BuckeyeInsiders. But 6'2", said he's 325 right now. When he gets to college, he wants to be a solid 300 and get rebuilt. Mm-hmm. But boy, he is quick and he is fast. And talking with him, and he talks about how he doesn't use his strength as much. And because, well, let me start. Larry Johnson told him, like, you remind me of Ty Hamilton.
That's a good comp.
Which is a very good comp. And Ty was known for being really, really strong. Mm-hmm. And so then he was asked, so you use your strength a lot? He's like, well, actually, I use my speed and quickness. And I could confirm. And you guys, when you eventually watch it, you will confirm as well. So I asked him, like, where do you get your quickness from? He's like, it's my mom's side of the family. There's a lot of football players on that side. And boy, it's just like, I didn't get the best move of the day. Of course, I did not get recorded. It was a spin move that the defensive line is oohing and eyeing. The offensive line is like, glad that wasn't me.
To hide, yeah.
And just really, really impressive. Then talking to him afterwards, Ohio State is obviously well known at that high school, especially if you're an up and coming defensive lineman. You've heard about Ohio State all along. He says he has no issue leaving the state, leaving the region. And I said, well, how does your family feel about you leaving? And he's like, well, they wouldn't like it so much, but they would understand. He said Ohio State will definitely be in his top 5. He also said, I don't know who's in my top 5. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Ohio State and Larry Johnson is the driving force there, because he's known. Larry Johnson was out there last year and got to know him, and it's just there's a little bit of a pipeline. But boy, talking with other coaches around, like, he impressed a lot of people. And so that's going to be one to watch in 2028.
Yeah, and those are two different guys, very different positions, different connections to Ohio State. But man, you've got some proof of concept in both of those places, where the older brother in one case turns into a top 5 NFL draft pick. The guy who is several years, don't make me think, oh goodness, he was like 7 years ahead in high school. I was going to say, I wonder if they knew each other. No, they did not know each other. JT Tuimoloau was a 2021. Oh goodness, we are getting old. But you do have that proof of concept of, you want to go play for Larry Johnson? Sure, go play for Larry Johnson. You're going to win a national championship. You're going to be a really high NFL draft pick. JT now, of course, playing for the Colts in Indianapolis. So yeah, those are two guys with some real serious proof of concept. I think you can sort of lean on. One last guy I wanted to mention, and we'll probably do a little more on him, but I just wanted to sort of mention Xander Edwards, running back out of the Bolus School in Jacksonville. He's another guy where there's a little bit of a connection. Simeon Caldwell, the true freshman at Ohio State, is from the Bolus School. He said he's talked to Simeon and sort of gotten some positive feedback already on Simeon's experience at Ohio State. There's some interesting ties there. His dad is Mark Edwards, the former Notre Dame fullback, who I met him, and I just hadn't made the connection in my head. He'd introduced himself, and I'm like, oh, that's a firm handshake. Yeah, well, that's a former NFL fullback. Yeah, so that's going to be a firm handshake. All right. But his grandfather, on the other side, is a lifelong Ohio State fan. So went to his first game at the Horseshoe in 1954. So I said, are you going to be kind of like, And he said, you're going to let him make his own decision. And he just got offered by Georgia this week, going to Florida. He's visited Miami. So, this is someone who's going to have a lot of good choices and a lot of good opportunities. But quick feet. He was working with Coach Locke, and every time we talk about Coach Locke at one of these camps, it's like, you're not going to get, this is not going to be, hey, good job, try again. It's like, you are going to get coached hard. You are going to get coached real hard. He's going to let you know what you're screwing up. And he did. But Xander said, love that. That's what I want. I don't want to be told, patted on the head and told, good job. I want to be told, you screwed this up, fix it. Here's how to fix it. Fix it now. That's how he feels like he gets better. That's, again, a little bit of a proof of concept there with, okay, what is this going to be like? Is this someone you would enjoy playing for? Yeah. He seemed to think maybe he would.
Well, I think when you have a fullback as a dad, there's going to be no glamour to your life. Mm-hmm. It's all just going to be just, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I mean, you're doing it wrong, do it right. There's no, I shouldn't say, it's not like his dad's a wide receiver, because we just talked about how great Jett Harrison and Harrison, but you get my picture. Like with the fullback, the dishes are going to be done.
Yeah, the dishes are going to be done. The vacuuming is going to be done. Yes. The attention to detail and doing the dirty work there. That is sort of the life of a fullback. Xander probably not going to be a fullback. He's very much a tailback type. But yeah, again, quick feet, very impressive. These are all 2028s we're talking about. So you got 2 more years of high school. Probably looking at another 6 months to a year before you're getting to decision time for a lot of these guys. But really, really good first impressions from all those guys over the course of the day. That was our last camp of the summer, but we will have much, much more because we have so much to talk about. So many players we haven't gotten a chance to dive into. Lots of video, got some interviews.
I wanted to talk to Locke today because I wanted to ask about a running back, and I couldn't remember when we saw it. And I swear it was last week. No, it was Tuesday.
Yeah,
it was 2 days ago. So like when we talk about we're going to do a recap of everything that we saw, I'm going to have to go back and like, what day was this?
Yeah. When
were these people there? Because it's, like you said, it's like a 9-day span or whatever, but it covers a lot of ground and a lot of players, and it's youtube.com/@BuckeyeInsiders.
Yeah, we'll have plenty more there. We'll have plenty more on the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed, on the Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning podcast feed, and soon, not yet, soon, at BuckeyeInsiders.com. If you want to know exactly how soon, go to BuckeyeInsiders.com right now and sign up for email updates. We'll send another one of those out in the next, at least next week at the very latest. But we'll keep you guys updated. And it's coming soon, very soon. Hopefully as soon as we want it to. We'll see, but that's coming. So BuckeyeInsiders.com, youtube.com/@BuckeyeInsiders, and just search Buckeye Insiders on your podcast platform of choice. You'll find all of those shows. And of course, search jeffrubies.com/Columbus, jeffruby.com/Columbus, the award-winning upscale steakhouse in downtown Columbus, named one of the top 50 steakhouses in America by Food Network. Again, jeffruby.com/Columbus to check out the menu and make a reservation today. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.